Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am outside on this absolutely beautiful, I guess you'd call it a false fall day. It's early September and it's only about 70 degrees outside. It's absolutely gorgeous, perfect day to be outside. Also a perfect day to show you this thing behind me here. Y'all may recall that a few months ago, I did a video after Senada e-bikes reached out to me and wanted me to test their Archon fat-tired mountain bike. Apparently they liked what I did with that video and they liked your reaction to it and wanted me to try out something else. And what they sent me may very well be the most perfect e-bike that I've seen. I don't want to oversell it, I don't want to exaggerate, but I will tell you this. The Senada Saber is a multi-purpose e-bike. It's designed for road travel, mountain biking, trail riding, what have you. And I took this thing out on a test ride yesterday and it hit all the right notes. Now, one of the things I love about Senada in particular is that the e-bike market right now is saturated with overpriced bikes. Because of the fact that I do this kind of stuff, my social media feed gets filled up with advertising for e-bikes. And I see some stuff every once in a while that is just so cool that I've got to go check it out. And as soon as I click on the page and I look at the price, I just have to click out of it because the pricing is downright offensive. I mean, when it all comes down, it's a bicycle, right? But if the folks at Senada have mastered one thing, is that they have created amazing e-bikes in a budget category. Sure, you can go to Amazon or you can go to Walmart and pay $200 to $300 for an e-bike, but then what you've got is a $200 to $300 e-bike. So if there's one thing that the folks at Senada have mastered, it's taking quality products, the things that make high-end bikes high-end, and putting them into a bike that most people can afford. Now, they're not cheap, but on scale with what else is out there, they're also not that expensive. So as usual, when you buy a bike online these days, it comes in a big box and there is some assembly required. Fortunately, the folks at Senada do most of the assembly. Really, the only things you have to put on are the things that they took off to make it fit in the box. And that's typically the front tire and the handlebars. The bike is pretty easy to assemble. Now, if you've never assembled a bike before, it can be a little bit of a challenge and you will find yourself referring to the instruction manual, which is, believe it or not, a pretty good idea. But overall, it only took me about 25 minutes to get this one put together. Of course, I did have the advantage of having assembled one of their bikes before, so it wasn't too much of a struggle. But if you're somebody that's starting out with e-bikes, take your time and do it right so you don't end up messing up the wires and the connections. But now that we've got the bike together, let's take a look at this thing and see what makes this such a perfect bike for so many things. First off, we've got these 26x4 fat tires on this that will absolutely eat up any kind of surface. It's so easy to get comfortable riding this bike knowing that these tires are not going to slip and come out from under you on anything but perfect road conditions. I absolutely love the frame on this bike. This thing is so aggressive looking, but it's also a work of art. This is not just a bunch of tubing that's stuck together or stamped out. There is such a great design to this. The slope of this down tube, even the welds on this bike are so eye-catching. You know, you can stamp a frame and have no visible welds, but having the welds visible on this thing actually adds a little bit to its aesthetic. It just makes it that much tougher look. It's got a beautiful paint job. I love the hardtail chopper style design of the frame because having this type of setup allows for such big tires to be on the bike without making it sit too high up off the ground for an average rider. On the back, we've got this rack that has a tail light. The tail light also has turn signals. The bike has a 1,000-watt motor with a 1,200-watt peak, meaning this thing is gonna get some speed and some power behind it. You've got disc brakes on the front and disc brakes on the rear to give you that stopping power you need when you're running this 1,000-watt motor. You've got a half grip throttle and 7 speeds to give yourself whatever level of exercise you're looking to get. You've got switches to control which pedal assist you want to use, and you've got a horn and a bell. And then of course you've got the readout screen that gives you all the details about your status on the bike. I think the thing that impresses me the most with this bike though is the battery. Look how big this battery is. It's gigantic. This is a 48 volt, 21 amp hour lithium ion battery. It's got a 1008 watt hour capacity that gives you the ability to go from 45 to 80 miles on a single charge. That's a lot of juice. And I think that's one of the things that really makes this bike stand out is this extended battery that gives it so much range. It's got so much juice, that chances are on an average daily commute, you'll be able to ride it there and ride it back without having to charge in between. So yesterday I went out and took the Senada Saber out for a ride, and I had just the perfect place to go. There's a county park in my area that has just about everything we need to test this bike out. Let's go for a ride. All right, so I've been out riding this thing for a few minutes and never hit the record button. So we'll start over again with the narration. So I'm out on this really kind of rutty, groovy road here. So the Senada Saber is an all-terrain bike. It's designed to be ridden on roads. It's designed to be ridden on hills. It's designed to be ridden on trails. And that's what we're doing right now. We're at my local county park riding on the trail system. This bike has 5 levels of pedal assist. And right now we're riding on 2. Still working on developing my confidence and skill on this thing, or on e-bikes in general. So I don't want to just get back here ripping down this road. But I'm on pedal assist 2. That keeps us right around 12 miles per hour. And honestly, I don't necessarily want to do much more than that on this road because of stuff like that. It's a lot of little washed out divots, and there's a lot of heavy grooving in this road. And I don't want to hit that going too fast. So far, the stability with this bike is great. It sits up a little higher than the Archon. I'm not a terribly tall person. The Archon was perfect for me. I had to cut a couple inches off the seat tube so that I could drop it down as low as it could possibly go. This bike came with the seat in its lowest position. It does adjust upward, and when I stop, I have to kind of stand on my tiptoes a little bit to touch the ground. I do prefer to sit a little lower in the saddle, but it's not uncomfortable or awkward. Right now I'm just pedaling with the pedal assist 2. I'm not using the throttle at all. It's a very comfortable ride, comfortable speed, and I don't feel like the bike is trying to get away from me. Get back out here on this gravel. You guys saw how well I did on gravel on the Coroma scooter. Let's hope this goes better than that. So far, so good. So this bike has a lockable suspension on the front. So if you want to set it for road driving, or if you want to set it for off-road driving, you can make that adjustment. You can dial it in a little bit too. There's a structure up here that I want to kind of try the bike out on. It's a little bit of a plateau up here. I think it was kind of built up for riding, so we're going to get up on that. First of all, we're going to see if this will climb the hill up onto it. We'll see what we got up there. Let's go do that. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're still in pedal assist 2, so we haven't really thrown the hammer down. Bumpy up here. See, we're more adventurous types would really enjoy getting out here and going into pedal assist 5 on something like this. But today ain't the day for me. It is fun on the hills though. The brakes on this thing, I think I need to tune up a little bit. It'll stop, but it doesn't stop hard. So I probably need to dial them in just a little bit. Let's kick it up to 5. And let's throttle this. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28.7, 29, 29.7. See if we can get to 30. Not quite getting to 30. Now we're kind of maxing out at 28.7, 29, 29.7. There, we hit 30. We're hovering right around it. It's kind of trying to stay just below 30. All right, we're back down to pedal assist 3 just so we can kind of enjoy the ride. Cruising at about 17.7 miles per hour. Riding in 7th speed on pedal assist 3 allows me to kind of max out my speed, but also still feel like I'm getting some exercise. Getting into the higher pedal assist levels, you might as well not even pedal. It's just like you're freewheeling. Let's drop down to pedal assist 2 and we'll get a little workout while we're doing this. On pedal assist 2, we're hovering right around 12 miles per hour. I can feel a little bit of burn in my legs on 7th speed. It is definitely making me work for it. This is a comfortable bike to ride. I've gone about 6 miles Once I get my confidence level up on this thing, I think it's going to be an absolute hoot to ride. No, we're not going to ride in that. I'm just showing it off. All right, we'll ride in it a little bit. Because how often you get to say you rode in a dry lake bed? It's got a strange feel to it. I mean, I'm sure there's a substantial amount of mud just below the surface. So everything I'm riding on is just a little unstable. So we're not going to do a lot of this. But we can say now we did it. Something happening up the road. I think we need to go check it out. It's a great thing about having a bike like this. We don't have to use the road. Whatever that is up there looks intense. Something's upside down, and I don't know how that happens on this road. Can y'all see this? That is a asphalt truck with a full load of asphalt. It is an MLGW asphalt truck. Just so many options back here for really testing this bike out. So while so far I haven't done any of my own stunts, we get to see one little crack up back there. We are still cruising right along and having a good time. I don't know about y'all, but I'm really enjoying getting out on this thing, seeing what it'll do, because to have this many different surfaces to ride on is kind of fun, but it's so awesome knowing that this bike can handle it all. I mean, I've ridden through grass, gravel, asphalt, washed out trails, and then we got up to 30 miles an hour on the road, all on the same bike. This thing really is a smooth riding bike, even on those jagged trails. And we got to ride through a dry lake bed. Got a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in the park, so we're going to need to probably drop down to pedal assist 3. We're going to jump over here to the bike trail. Get out of the road. It's a pretty day at the park. You can tell it's been a hot, dry summer around here. All the lakes are super low. Now we're going to get back on the green line. Let's kick it down pedal assist 2. So we're not being that guy. Let's go down this way. I've never been this way on the green line before. Cool story. This used to be a railroad track. That's what's happening in a lot of communities. They're taking old abandoned railroad tracks and converting them into green lines. What makes this one a little different was that not far up from where we are now, there were several abandoned train cars that just sat there. And they had to move those when they came to take down the old train tracks. Don't know what became of them. I don't know if they discarded them, sold them, what happened to them, but it was one of those things that I always wanted to go and explore and just never got around to it. And I kind of regret not being able to get out and check that out. It's a closed road. I wonder what's down here. Let's find out. Nothing terribly exciting, just the backyards of a bunch of houses. This is a little unkempt back here, so a little far from the car to take the bike back and end up damaging it somehow. This little path is surprisingly empty today. I figured as nice as it is outside, there'd be a lot more people out here. What's this in the road? It's a vulture in the road? All right, sir, I'm going to need you to move along. And this makes for a nice ride. A lot of shade, nice breeze going. We're just cruising along at 17 miles per hour. Dodging vultures. One day, if you guys are interested, I'll do a video where I'll ride this entire greenbelt and let you see what all's out here. Maybe make a few stops on the way, maybe bring an MRE and have lunch. If that sounds like something you'd like to see, leave me a comment and tell me about it, and we will make it happen. Let me lock this front suspension. Since we're on this asphalt trail, I'm going to lock the front suspension. Oh, see, that's what happens when you've got legs that are too short for the stance of your bike. Let's lock that. See how it rides. So far we've gone 13 miles. It's still a very comfortable bike to ride. The only issue I've got is this glove is rolling up right where I hold the throttle, and it's starting to kind of rub. So I may have to cut that out. But the bike itself is great. I mean, this thing is super comfortable. Even as short as I am, the position that I'm in with the seat being as low as it is, my knees come up quite a bit when I'm pedaling, which tells me that the frame of the bike itself is great as far as its overall size, positioning, everything else. I could actually raise up the seat and fit well within the frame. But because of these 26-inch tires on this thing, that puts me well above the ground. So if I were to raise up the seat a little bit to make the pedals a little more comfortable, then I would really have trouble getting my feet on the ground when I was stopped. So that's something to consider. I've got a 29 to 30-inch inseam, and you can be short and have long legs. I mean, everybody's built a little bit different. I'm average height for an American male, but I think my torso is longer and my legs are shorter. So if you have longer legs than a 29, 30-inch inseam, then you can probably do fine with putting the seat up a little bit on this bike and be comfortable riding. If you're a taller rider, then you can definitely prop the seat up and be much more comfortable on it. But for riders that are shorter than about 5'8", this may not be the configuration for you. The stature of the frame over these super tall tires may be a little much. If you're about 5'4" or less, you're probably not going to want to go with this model bike because it's just going to be too tall for you. The particular design of this bike, that kind of chopper-like with the hardtail setup in the back, is designed so that the bike can sit lower on these bigger tires. This one does sit a little higher off the ground than something like the Archon. And I believe the Herald it's not really a step through, but it's got a similar kind of setup. So something like the Herald might be better for really short riders. But I haven't tried that bike out yet, so I can't say for sure. But this one is definitely not for shorter riders. Yeah, I think 5'8" is gonna be about as short as you want to be and comfortably try to handle this bike. On your left. That was a fun day out on the bike. I had such a good time and thoroughly enjoyed riding this bike. And let me tell you, honestly, I'm in my 50s. I'm not in the best shape in the world, but I'm also not just ridiculously out of shape, but I absolutely enjoyed the ride. I tried to pedal as much as I could so that I could validate the exercise that I was getting. It would be easy just to lay on the throttle and enjoy the ride, but I wanted to make sure that I was actually exercising while I was out, and it was so comfortable. You can get a stationary bike to put in your living room and ride all day long. But to be able to get out and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the weather, but still not have to worry that if you get tired on your ride that you're gonna have to call somebody to come pick you up. The great thing about these e-bikes is that if that happens, all you gotta do is sit back and use the throttle to get you back home. According to the Strava app, I went a little over 16 miles in the course of my ride and did not get even remotely uncomfortable. The seat was surprisingly cushy. Usually stock seats are the first thing to go on a bike like this, but I found it to be surprisingly comfortable. I think overall, if you're looking for a bike that's going to serve any purpose you can throw at it, the Senada Saber is hard to beat. Even if you're looking for something for a dedicated purpose, this also has that capability. If you want a mountain bike, if you really want to get aggressive, you can take the fenders, you can take the rack, you can take all that off and just turn this thing into an open wheel mountain bike. If you need a street cruiser, you can add saddlebags, you can add a basket on the front. There's so many accessories you can get to turn this into a daily rider. So that's it for this video, and I hope this introduced you to something that maybe you weren't familiar with. If you're in the market for an e-bike and you're trying to figure out what to get, I'm hoping that this helps with that decision. The folks at Senada have been super great to work with from the beginning, and overall I've been just super impressed with all of their products. They have extended me a discount code for my viewers if you want to go and see what the price is going to be like with my discount. That'll be in the description box down below. But with that being said, it's time to shut this thing down. I want to get back on this thing and take another ride. It is so much fun. But until the next video, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you around.